Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on Chop Sports Media's YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcast. Bret, Ernst, Keith, Ernst, Dave Sturchio here on a post-draft episode. Coach Ernst, sorry, I totally mispronounced you. It's a coaching thing. You're a coach now.
You sniffed glue.
He just sniffed glue. Holy shit. Live on the air. Listen, the NFL draft comes and goes. From everything that you're reading, anybody that reads anything, everybody's saying that the Cowboys had a good draft. We'll get into it. We'll break down all the picks. We'll roll from there. But first and foremost, my apologies to Keith on a personal front. Just want to apologize for all the back and forth on the text messages because, boy, oh boy, you would think it's a good day for a Cowboys fan when it's draft day and everybody's excited and shit. But Keith said it right here on the show. He wanted defense. He thinks the Cowboys should have drafted for their needs. And it wasn't the case per se. We'll dive into it. But first and foremost, sorry, Keith. Didn't mean to ruffle any feathers over there.
That's all right. I would apologize if I did something wrong, but I didn't. So.
How did I see that coming? And, of course, Bret, Ernst, when the draft was happening, Thursday, Friday. Go ahead.
I'm an objective observer.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure this one's going to come up objective, yeah.
I'm just going to say, and I'm not being biased here, you know, my brother is right, and I think that he's right, and I think I'm gonna mediate and be very fair here. I've given it a lot of thought.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And when we're ready to interject, I'm gonna interject. But you're both right in a way, and I'll explain that too.
Okay.
Because but my brother's point, which I don't know if he said on the last podcast, is we're going to have to win through defense. Okay, that's the only way. Dak has had every weapon possible, and it hasn't worked.
Right.
So now there's a difference between drafting good players and then drafting on what we needed. And I'll get to that. So go ahead,
All right.
Sturge.
So,
also, I'd like to say something. I know I mentioned Campbell. Jahad Campbell, that's kind of the guy I want that went to the Eagles. Fuck that guy.
Come on, man.
No, I don't mean it like that. He's a superb player. As a player, he's great.
but now he's an Eagle, so screw him.
No, it's not even that.
Oh.
He grew up a diehard Eagles fan, hating the Dallas Cowboys, and 20 minutes from the stadium. I didn't want that. I don't want that asshole on the team.
All right. Well, then that's a valid strategic point. And listen, not for nothing. And I know you guys have heard this, or maybe you don't listen to it as much as I'm so knee deep in a lot of Brian Schottenheimer's press conferences and on who he wants on his team. And he wants guys that love the game of football. They don't bullshit. They're high character guys. Their families are into football, just like a pedigree. He wants these guys to be a pedigree. And a lot of these guys grew up Cowboys fans as they went through the draft process. And I know it's not like, oh, he's a Cowboys fan, we should definitely draft him, right? Like, obviously that's not a thing, but it does play a nice little role in trying to get to know one of your players. So look, the Cowboys went on the clock at the 12th pick, and there was already a couple guys gone that I kind of wanted. Tet McMillan, the receiver, went to Carolina a little early, pick 9, I think it was. But there was an opportunity to either A, land a Matthew Golden or another receiver of note, B, try to maybe go a little crazy and go Amarian Hampton, another running back. Obviously, running back is a need as well. Or they could have went defense, which there was a plethora of a lot of defensive good players there. The Cowboys decided at 12 to draft Tyler Booker out of Alabama, guard, right? He was ranked, upon everything that I've seen, he was ranked as the top guard in the draft. He's a bully. As soon as he went on to the Micah Parsons podcast thing, but they were doing a live stream, he dropped a couple words on there that really got Cowboys fans very excited about the guy. And I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said anybody who lines up, he like his favorite part about playing football is taking the love of the game out of his opponent's eyes. So basically, they're all jacked up to play football until they line up against Tyler Booker, and Tyler Booker is going to strip that from you. So,
Hey, Sturch,
yeah.
didn't 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever we got him, didn't Mozzie Smith say something similar?
I really hope not.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Hell, you know what, Mozzie
Something
Smith.
about running into a wall. Like I love running into like something where you got all little Sturch and kiddied about.
Yeah, well, listen, I think not just little Sturch here. I think Cowboys Nation as a whole was very excited about the pick after the pick was made.
I will say, Mozzie Smith, there was questions about him. There aren't a lot of questions about Tyler Booker.
I agree.
He's a proven player. By the way, we got a lot of Tylers on the fucking O-line.
3 of them.
Tyler Guyton.
3 starters.
Smith. Yeah, so we might have to have a nickname.
This is
they're all
really quick though. I go the player, which we discussed in the text. The player, the position that he plays, and how well he plays the position, I give that an A+. Now, as far as the draft pick and choice and where, I give that a C+. Because we could have easily traded back. Go ahead.
This is where I come in to mediate, and this is where I'm saying, if we're looking at the talent that we drafted, okay, because there's 2 ways to look at the draft. If we're looking at the talent we drafted and the players we got, and also depending if Shabbat or Revel, however you say his name, is healthy enough, we drafted 3 guys that can come in right away and start. If you're looking at the draft that way, we did really well. But there's the other way that we have to look at it as if we drafted on need. And on need, if we're going to load up on offense, we definitely needed the wide receiver. We definitely needed the running back. But I think with this first pick, we're looking at the future here, because the O-line is the future of whoever comes in to play quarterback later on. And, you couldn't have gotten a better guard.
Yeah, but you were going to mediate what I said.
We also needed a linebacker. No,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I said, though.
What do you mean?
I said what I'm saying is I love the pick. What I'm trying to say is where we got him at 12. We could have traded back and got him at 22 or 23. Yes.
There's been some heavy discussion about.
That's what I'm saying.
There's been heavy discussion, and most of the analysts have come back and said you could have got this guy in the 18 range, maybe, right? Like you could have stockpiled. You could have got back into the 4th round. You could have done a couple things here. But they didn't, right? It seems to me, based off of everything I've said, read, heard, that the Cowboys were going to stick to their board regardless, right? So here's the thing. If you just go back just a couple years ago, there was a guy that fell to us at 17. We didn't need a receiver when CeeDee Lamb was available, but CeeDee Lamb was available. And you're like, you know what? He's the best player on our board right now. We're going to bring this guy on. And, of course, when you get the CeeDee Lamb, you're like, oh, shit, a new toy, Dak Prescott. This is going to be great. I can't wait, right? And it hasn't obviously, translated to any team success. But what I will say is my theory on the draft is always to draft the best player available no matter what, unless you're the number 1 overall pick and you realize the reason why we're the number 1 overall pick is because my team stinks, my quarterback stinks, I need a quarterback. A la the Titans, right? Their quarterback was horrendous last year, and they went Cam Ward, the most NFL-ready quarterback. That's what you do. That's what you fill. And there's your quarterback for the next 5-10 years, right? For what the Cowboys did, no matter where they were picking, I just wanted them to address whatever was the best thing. For me, my opinion last week was, get me a receiver for Dak. Get me a running back for Dak. Get me offense. Keith's was, no, we need defense right now. We need a linebacker. We haven't stopped the run since fucking Dave was born, right? It's been a long time since they were able to stop the run. So in that regard, Keith, I agree that maybe a linebacker or a defensive player would be the play for the need, but you had a better player on their board, which was Tyler Booker, and that's why they pulled trigger.
Okay, I agree.
That where the critique on this draft from some fans is what we didn't do. Like, if we're looking at what we did, we got some great players.
Sure.
It's more what we didn't do. And that becomes the question of, like I said, we've loaded up our offense. We've had years where we had great receivers. We had, and we didn't move the needle. So if we were to draft on need, because that's two ways to go. I mean,
know.
obviously we want the best players on the board because our second pick
on their
you
board.
know,
Now I'll preface it on the Cowboys board. Right? There's a million rankings all over the place, but the Cowboys sat there and spent hours and hours and days on putting together a ranking system, and they just so happened to say, "Hey, Tyler Booker's number 1 on our board, and he's right there at 12. Let's go grab him." That's what they did.
It's a solid pick. It's typical Jones. You know, we get an offensive lineman in the first round, and the one thing Jerry Jones knows, and we've seen and is proven, is his drafting of offensive linemen. And you know, it's a solid pick. It's a solid pick. It's not a romantic pick. It's not, you know,
and again, we
need.
Right, because they had their all-pro Hall of Fame right guard retire, and while I understand he was hurt last year a lot, or at least the back end of the year, and he was just, you know, you figured it was kind of the end of the road, we started to see the emergence of a bully like Brock Hoffman. So everybody's like, oh, well, Brock could be the next guy, right? Brock Hoffman could be the guy. And I'm a huge Brock Hoffman fan, right? I love the way he plays. He's gritty. He's nasty. He'll fight you. I love all that shit. But like I said, and Cooper Beebe too. Like, and that was a steal of a pick last year. He's going to be good. He's going to develop. He's going to get better. But what I'm saying is, if they thought, like, we got Brock Hoffman, right? But then they're like, ooh, wait, but we can have the best guard in the nation right now come in and play day one. Listen, it's not even a foregone conclusion. Of course, when you draft somebody in the first round, they're supposed to start right away. That's just the way it is, unless it's a project quarterback or some shit. But for a guard, you would assume that he's going to go right in there and play and knock around guys. But there's going to be competition, which is great. Competition creates greatness.
Well, I think what Keith said, and we're all in agreement, is that we could have made some moves and he still would have been available. But maybe they just didn't want to risk it, and maybe nobody was willing.
Exactly. That could be it too. Yeah, bro. Maybe nobody gave him anything. You know, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Well, apparently there was a rumor about a Texans trade, but they never pulled trigger on it. So
with Jerry Jones, and I just went back and looked just to double check. And we already knew this, dude. Maybe he's so good at playing offensive line because that's what he played. Not playing. I'm sorry, picking offensive linemen is because that's what he played. I mean, at Arkansas.
Right. He doesn't know a position better.
And you know what I didn't know? His son, Stephen Jones, actually started. He played college football.
Stephen Jones did?
Yeah. Here, I'll tell you right now.
Was he another offensive lineman?
I'm like, I'll tell you right now.
Was he another offensive lineman? Because he's built like a fucking hoss too.
He was a linebacker, maybe. Hold on.
Well, be that as it may, as you
he went to Arkansas.
Well, it's a lineage thing. That's why you get Felix. That's why you draft Felix Jones. That's why you get fucking all these Arkansas guys that are not Felix Jones.
Yeah, he graduated in 1988, right before Jerry Jones got the Cowboys. 4-year letterman for the Razorbacks, playing linebacker and special teams.
So you're telling me that he
started in the Orange Bowl in '87.
That's amazing. So you're telling me that he was available to draft, and Jerry didn't draft his son? Is that right?
I'm just, you know what I do?
No, imagine that. He realizes he's not good, so he didn't want to draft him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It happens.
But the thing I like about that is I don't think a lot of people, including myself, realize, because, we make, they don't know. They're businessmen. Like, at least they did play the fucking game.
Right. They're not completely clueless. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I know Bret harps on that. He wants a football guy. We do have football guys, but I think that their mentality is just a little skewed as far as like talent evaluation. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great research question. Which of the owners actually played college football?
Yeah.
Any owners in the NFL? Yeah. I'd be remiss to think that most of these guys are oil digging wheel, like guys that are
Jerry Jones. Might be.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll do some research after that. But
I loved the second pick.
All right.
Donovan Araki.
Yeah. So this is
what I don't know every college player. What I do is I see, and then we go back and look at the draft. And this kid's a stud. I mean, he's a stud, bro.
So here, all right. So
again, a lot of people's boards, and this kid, especially with Micah starting, you could see a lot of cleanup sacks with this kid because again, both Tyler and I don't know how to say his last name, Donovan Iraku.
Easy.
They could come in right away.
Just call him Easy.
Come in right away.
So all right. So the question about this one was, we took an offensive guard in the first round. So everybody and their mother was like, okay, well, at least when the second round comes around, they'll definitely address the wide receiver. They'll definitely address the running back. And then, we'll move on from there. They flipped it to Keith's side of the ball, and they want to go some defense. Now, this guy coming in here, now again, when we draft Tyler Booker, there was already 15 or maybe 13 offensive linemen on the roster when we drafted Tyler Booker. Defensive end, edge rusher, got a lot of those guys too, right? We do have a lot of those guys. Our one big free agency move was to bring back Dante Fowler Jr. You got Sam Williams coming back. You got Marshawn Nealon in year 2. You got a lot of stock in that defensive line. Now, the defensive edge, again, these are the things you got to build on because what did we just witness in the Super Bowl? We watched Patrick Mahomes get bullied by the defensive front, right? So you can never have too many guys. They go out and they get Donovan Izaraku. Yeah, I'll try that once. That's about it. Donovan Easy as the defensive end. Keith, your thoughts on the pick, the player, the position, everything that, comes with this pick.
Well, I mean, based on highlights, I didn't know who he was before. I'm not going to bullshit anyone. I do watch college football, and I watch a lot of college football, but I usually watch, certain teams, and that's why I preached on Cam Ward. The other linebacker from Notre Dame I kind of liked, and I can't remember his name right now. Anyways, regardless, so what I saw in highlights, yeah, it looks great. But once again, what I was trying to say is, and you just brought it up as well, is how many edge rushers, I just wanted to address our weaknesses, and you're right. You can't have too many too, but that was my whole thing. The first 2 picks, why I had a big beef with it is, Brock Hoffman did a pretty good job last year filling in, and we have edge rushers. So pretty much, what do we, what I want players, I want to zoom in on the players where we struggled the most, improve that. And that's why I wasn't that crazy about that pick either, even though I like it. And once again, I'm not bashing the player. Like when I looked at his highlights and when I saw his combine and all that, I'm like, damn, this dude's a baller, A+ for sure. I'm just saying for specific need of our team. That's all.
Yeah, and to just double down on your point, I look at this roster and how many times did we, like last year in specific, I think I was in my dad's pool when it was summer where we're like, oh, wait, Sam Williams just went down. We're like, what? And then like Marshawn Nealon and like all this, and like all of a sudden we're like, oh, now we're completely thin at defensive end because we had lost Fowler, right? That's so now the Jerry Jones mindset might be like, you know what? Fuck this. We're not putting ourselves in this position again. You know what I mean? And they're going to get as many guys that can pursue the quarterback as humanly possible. And on their board, this guy was the guy.
And honestly, bro, you go back to the early 90s defense. We had a nice rotation there.
I know. Haley, Tolbert, all these guys.
Jimmy Jones.
Yeah.
We still didn't address the interior problem.
We did. We did.
I guess this kid can help stop the run. I was again going back and watching other people analyze him. He can fill those A gaps and B gaps if they need him to. But look, if we get my guy Overshown healthy, and we get Micah, and if this kid is what they think he is, because it's a pass happy league, man. That's just where we're at.
And
we got the linebacker kid from Chicago, which I know a lot of Bears fans were high on in free agency to help stop the run, but we didn't really address that interior. But I don't know what defensive tackle or nose guard was higher on the board, or who was available.
Well, we'll get it. Yeah, we'll get into that because they did address the defensive tackle twice at the back end of the draft, and we'll just get into that. But the third overall pick that they had was pick 76. Now, this guy, apparently, according to all people, all mocks, all this, all that, had he not got injured in August, September of last year, the dude's a first rounder, right? So we got ourselves a cornerback in the 3rd round that should have been a first-round pick. And when you're looking at this team right now, the biggest question marks right now are surrounding Trayvon Diggs. We don't know if he's going to be healthy, ready to go at all. Apparently his rehab just stinks. I don't know. I don't know his will to get back. Overshown, you could see that he's putting in work every goddamn day. Trayvon Diggs, I don't know, right? And again, it's not a testament to the player. I don't know the guy. All I know is he likes to avoid tackles. But as far as this kid, again, Siobhan Revel Jr., little undersized, doesn't really like contact from everything that I've seen. So it's almost like another Trayvon Diggs situation. He is coming off the knee injury, but the dude is a hawk and he's lanky. He's got height. He's a very sticky corner. He sticks to his guy the entire time. And it was an absolute need because right now, like you said, Bret, this guy could be a day one starter because of the fact that we might not have Trayvon Diggs.
Well, apparently our doctors cleared him and said, "Yo, this kid could be ready to go."
Yeah.
It's not as severe as say what happened to Overshown.
Well, even if it was severe, he's just longer in the process. He tore his ACL in September. So that's a 9-month recovery. Do the math, and you're good by June, July, when camp rolls around.
Well, he's still out all season, though.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just...
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, of course.
We always draft these injured players, and we get all high on them, and then they become maybe a Jalen Smith.
Oh, God, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm
don't
just
you
saying,
do it. Don't you dare.
It's tough.
I know, I get it. Trust me, I get that part. But it was definitely a need, as you addressed, and he was also a very highly touted, ranked player despite the injury. So I think that pick is a great pick for the Cowboys at that point in the draft. Now you're talking about 3rd round, and you're talking about a 1st round graded talent. So you can't really go wrong with that. You just got to, knock on wood that he's okay. So now look, I thought the Cowboys were going to be very aggressive, get back into the 4th round because they had a bunch of 5th round picks. So I was like, all right, they're going to stockpile a bunch of 5ths, give it to somebody, get back into the 4th. They didn't see it that way. There was a run on running backs. It felt to me as soon as the run on running backs started that no matter where the Cowboys pick next, that had to be the pick. And it was. And it comes in the form of Jaden Blue out of Texas. Jaden Blue, you've watched the tape. You've seen him run. He runs a 4.2 40, 4.3 on a bad day.
4.3.
Yeah, well, 4.3 he's run a 4.2 before. So he has this, what Bret has harped on for years, that you need a running back with breakaway speed. This guy has it. And now you pair him with your Miles Sanders or Javonte Williams, or I still think the Deuce Vaughn thing is probably a wrap at this point. Just because of this pick and the pick later on. But you got yourself some serviceable running backs. I'm not saying we have Saquon Barkley. I'm saying we have some running backs who could run the ball. And if you're building this offensive line the way they are, anybody with that kind of push up front, Keith, is going to be a success.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think I brought this up. He's 200 pounds. Like, that's 200 pounds running a 4.2, 4.3, man. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like that. And I didn't know him before the draft, another one. But once again, watching highlights and seeing those things, yeah, he looks great. I mean, we'll see how that translates in the NFL.
And they're saying that his route running is very good too, which means it could be a Tony Pollard 2.0 situation.
You know what? That I noticed too, watching the highlights. There were a lot of pass plays that he was involved in, which is cool. So
we're gonna do a running back by commission again. The other kid we picked up too, Mafau, however you say his name.
Phil Maffa.
He's good red zone guy, which we were lacking. It was that both those pickups. I would have liked Skeeteroo, whatever his name is.
Scatterbo, yeah, listen. Yeah, I know. He goes to the enemy. He's staying home in Jersey.
I'm telling you right now, Sturch. I'm calling it right now. He rushes for over 100 yards against us. That is such a Dallas Cowboy thing. His rookie year, next season, this season coming up, a game against the Dallas Cowboys. If it's not both, at least one. This guy's gonna fucking kill us.
All right. Well, hey, listen,
it just happened. Dante Freeman. I mean, all these running backs come. They have their come out. Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones got a second contract after he was done with us. So,
my point is like you never hear of a running back, or they're drafted. Their first big game always comes against us.
They love us. They love to play us. But hey, listen. Good thing for us in the 5th round as well, right after the Jaden Blue pick, 3 picks later, they finally said, you know what? Who are we going to draft here? I don't know. Let's ask Keith Ernst. Keith, what position do you want to draft here in the 5th round? We'll give you the selection. What would you like? What position? And of course, they draft Shamar James, a Gator out of Florida. And his MO right now is that he is a very, very ferocious downhill runner. Got good speed side to side. He just, there's a couple things he needs to brush up on, but I'm glad at this point, finally, and if you look at all the grades that they gave out for this kid, he was touted to be a third, fourth round talent, and you get him in the late fifth. So I think it's a steal in that regard. I saw some tape. I watched some tape on him, and I think that he could be one of those guys that until Overshawn is ready, because they compared him, same thing, same kind of size and strength. Not built like your prototypical like Urlacher or something like that. He's more the Overshawn. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy. He's not Van Der Esch. He's an Overshawn size. I think it's a banger pick in the fifth round. You had to address it eventually. And they tried in the free agency. And I know a lot of these guys. I know Keith, when I said, hey, man, we got the kid from Tennessee. You're like, yeah, he's ranked past the top 100 in run support. So I was like, oh, all right, well, that sucks. Kenneth Murray Jr.
I was going to say about James is, so our SEC is something I do watch, the Gators. And yeah, I mean, I noticed him. But my whole thing with him is what I've noticed is like on stunts, he's great. He'll shoot in. He's not afraid. But on certain running plays, I think he thinks too much, and a lot of blocks. He's getting blocked. He's waiting for the block to come to him because the football instinct. Maybe he's not taking it, or maybe he doesn't have it, or maybe it hasn't really, been coached the right way. But from what I noticed,
it's a coaching thing. Maybe
he's kind of flat-footed. Blocker comes, hits him. He gets around and gets the tackle, but it's still 6-7 yards downfield. But he shoots gaps. Like I saw there were stunts where I'm like, okay, boom, he's getting in there. He's not afraid. It's not like he's scared. He's just thinking. I think he's overthinking.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Keith. So then when you get out to Oxnard and you're coaching the linebackers, you gotta make sure that he plays up to his part.
Coach Ernst.
Coach E over there.
Coach Ernst, who got abused on social media when I said Taco Charlton's feet were too slow when we drafted him.
I don't know.
Everybody came after me on this page. Yeah,
I hated Taco Charlie.
Yeah, I know you did. Taco.
Welcome to Big D, Taco.
Welcome to Big D.
No. Oh man, but yeah, listen, Bret, thoughts? Finally addressed the linebacker. You're a linebacker, safety, you kind of guy yourself.
It depends on the type of defense we're going to be running this year. Most teams, like I said, you want a guy that can fly, that can stunt, that can get under the curl. But in our division, I mean, we got some serious, we got Saquon Barkley we got to deal with. We have some, and now the Giants with Skeeter Boo. We have to address, we need a run stuffer, a good D tackle, because, that's been our weakness, man. And again, it just depends on the style of defense that we're going to be running this year.
The Eberflus defense.
Why am I drawing a blank? Who the Redskins? Who's their running back?
Well, they've always had Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler.
It was Eckler and then Robinson. Robinson's the guy I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Brian Robinson.
Bijan's on Atlanta.
Brian Robinson Jr., the guy who got shot, came back, played.
Yeah, no, he had a great year last year. He was good.
He was on my fantasy team. I know all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as Bret's like, nerds. But anyway, so the sixth round is where, again, sixth and seventh round picks, are they going to make the team? I don't know. Some do, some don't. But the sixth round was where I got a little like, again, it's hard to judge a sixth round pick, but when you double dip again and you bring in a Johnny Cornelius, another offensive tackle or guard or whatever, I'm just like, all right, guys, like we still haven't even sniffed a wide receiver. What the fuck is going on at this point? Like now are we getting trolled?
Listen, they just abandoned it.
Oh, clearly we didn't draft one. We had fucking 9 picks.
Look, that we may have, they may have some faith in some of the guys from last year.
Well,
that are coming around.
Well, that's why we didn't have a 4th round pick, because of that Jonathan Mingo. Let me tell you, he's something special. That boy can run a route.
That's a good point, and I bring that up too, bro. I mean, everyone has just given up on the receivers the Cowboys have right now, except CeeDee Lamb, and I kind of stand up for him. Tolbert Brooks. Let's give him even the one that Bret always likes, the big dude. What's his name?
Ryan Flournoy.
Yeah,
Flournoy. We've got these guys, and you know what? I'm going to the Dallas. I want to read this to you guys real quick. Right now, I'm going to the Dallas Cowboys website. Okay.
Okay.
And here's my thing. I'm just thinking, just as a player, just as a man. Okay.
All right.
This would piss me off. Opening the headline here is. Where is it?
I'm your
Google search.
Pulled it down, bro. They must have pulled it down.
They had to have. Why? Did they just completely shit on all the receivers we have?
Yeah. It was an
Cowboys
article
avoid
that said-
receivers amidst all shitty receivers on the roster outside of CeeDee Lamb. But listen, it's not that we talked to an NFL receiver last year, right before the season. We talked to Jesse Holley, our honorary 4th Jersey boy, right? He went on here and he said, Jalen Tolbert, now or never, buddy. Now or never. And it was for a little while, it was like he was lost again. Nobody heard of. But then all of a sudden, towards the back end of the year, Tolbert starts to flash a little bit. He's starting to gel with Dak. Then Dak goes down. Now you got to gel with a whole new system, a whole new, Cooper Rush and all that shit. Like, that is why a lot of these guys didn't put up any kind of numbers where you're just like, oh, let's wait and see. The Cowboy fan, to me right now, is looking for that new toy, that name value. They're not looking at these guys from the surface. They're not looking at these guys' production for what it's worth. Again, you can't look at a Ryan Flournoy or a Jalen Brooks and say, he's trash, he stinks, it's over.
Yeah.
It hasn't had enough. And if they have evaluations on these guys, including Jonathan Mingo, which again, we got for a 4th round pick, was that the right move to make at the time? Probably not, right, as far as value is concerned. But if they see something in the kid, then maybe there is something there, right? Instead of jumping down everybody's throats about the value of them and because they're not Cooper Kupp or somebody else, like you're just like, oh, they don't give a shit. They're not trying to help Dak out. We've tried helping Dak out plenty of times, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys have said it, but I'm the Dak apologist of this podcast. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have said, look, we loaded this guy up with talent and he still couldn't get it done. Now I'm out here saying, you know what? Fuck it. if they think he's Superman, put his cape on. Let's go.
So I found it. If you go to the website on the desktop, not on your phone,
they dug it up.
it said, no, it's here. It's a
Okay.
big headline. Batman and ... question mark.
Jesus Christ.
That's what it says.
Well, look,
I mean, if I'm one of these receivers, they're like, what the fuck, dude?
well,
Right?
listen.
CeeDee Lamb needs a Robin to his Batman. But with the Cowboys not using the NFL draft to add on, their attention shifts back to trying to do so via trade or their shitty players they already have. What?
Patrick Walker,
That
you
would
son of a
piss me
bitch.
off.
No, but listen, again, I agree with you there. And in the 6th round, they could have gotten a couple guys that are worthy of just either throwing a dart at the wide receiver chart, right, and saying, all right, this guy could be something. Who knows? They didn't do that. They went offensive line again. Amidst the draft, apparently there's a report came out from Todd Archer of ESPN saying that the Dallas Cowboys were in heavy trade discussions with an AFC North receiver. To me, that's George Pickens, 1,000%. Keith, you said it weeks ago that it's a possibility. Yeah. I said no dice because no dice because they just weren't going to be in that market. I didn't think they were going to, because then again, if you do this, which again, if they did it and they pull this off and they get him for like a 4th or 5th or some bullshit like that, where we're like, holy shit, what? Right? And we get that. That's all well and good. But guess what comes next? His second fucking contract. Right. So, and Jerry Jones is the type of guy that, we all know that he just drags his fucking feet and waits and waits and waits until the value is way too high. And then we pay him anyway. It's all a waiting game with Jerry Jones. Right now, the heaviest rumor right now is bringing back Amari Cooper. And there's something to that. There's something to that, I think. I think there's noise behind this. When there's smoke, there's fire. I think there's going to be something over the next couple days where we add a receiver via trade. Or free agent. Either way, I think it has to happen because after the draft, we signed 2 undrafted free agents that, again, some people are like, that guy could be your number 2. Okay, if he was your number 2, then you better fucking give another chance to Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks and Ryan Flournoy.
Hold on, bro. We're forgetting. It's the J posse. Get it right.
Sorry,
you got Jalen Tolbert, you got Jalen Brooks, and you got Jalen Cropper.
All right, it's another one. You don't even.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, again,
make some young kids, and I like Flournoy too, man. Let's give him a shot.
It's actually, you'd be surprised.
Go ahead. And we keep forgetting Turpin.
Kavonte Turpin. Little Terp. Yeah, you know what the problem is?
We just need that big-bodied second possession receiver.
Yeah.
That
you need the X.
I think. Huh?
You need the X receiver. You need the actual guy that flanks outside.
And I think Flournoy could fill that role. I mean, he's a dude, and he's got great hands. What was the other guy that played tight end that got hurt? Stevenson?
Oh,
John Stevens, the third.
But he's a tight end. So
be healthy?
Yeah, he should be back, I think. I mean, from everything that I gather, I don't think they ever cut him or anything like that, so he'll be back. But look, right now, yeah, the article has some validity to it because the name value isn't there. That's all. That's all that is. It's like
That's it.
everybody knows who CeeDee Lamb is, yeah, because he's the top 3 wideout in the game. But now you're like, ooh, who's this Robin? Because we have a bunch of unknowns. They're knowns to us because we know who they are, but they're not knowns to the national beat writers. You know what I mean? Like, they can't go out there and be like, maybe Jalen Tolbert's the guy. Like, we know enough about Jalen Tolbert to know that he's probably a solid 3. It's not a 2 right now, right?
I won't say that. I could say he's a 2. I think he's a 2.
Well, if he's a 2, then our problems are solved, and you don't have to worry about getting another 2 receiver.
It needs to show he's a 2 if he's a 2.
Right.
Our problems are not solved, and we can't draft for this. This wasn't a quarterback heavy draft, but again, everything's on the shoulders of Dak.
Well, towards the back end of that draft, I was starting to get a little. Once we get into the 5th round and Shador's still hanging around, I was like, "Oh, Jerry, don't do it, boy, don't do it." Like, I just felt it.
We don't need that distraction.
No, we have enough over here. But look, after that 7th round, they get Jay To'oya, a defensive tackle to UCLA, a big ass run stopper, stuffer. He has characteristics and traits of a guy that can plug a hole. That's what you need, right? Your defensive tackles are supposed to just shed guys, just try to eat up some blocks so you can let Micah and the rest of the 97 fucking edge rushers that we have on this roster to do work. And possibly, and maybe they do that. Then they double dipped and got Phil Maffa, the running back out of Clemson, a little bit more of a banger.
That kid I like, man. That kid is a good, I think could be a good red zone type running back, which is again what we need. Just somebody to pound it in, man.
I tried to give the benefit of the doubt to Deuce on Twitter. I projected my April depth chart as far as the running backs are concerned. I think it's going to be headed by Javonte. I think that Jaden Blue has a chance to be the 2. I do. And I think that Miles Sanders is on the chopping block. I think he gets cut. And I think that Deuce Vaughn makes the team. But what they're saying is because you have a Jaden Blue, a little burner, I know he's a bigger guy than Deuce Vaughn because everybody's a bigger guy than Deuce Vaughn. But it might be the end of the road for a project like him because he just hasn't gotten it going.
They didn't give him enough fucking burn, though.
Yeah, well, how much burn you want to give him? You know what I mean? Like how much more you got to go to realize
how much more? He didn't get any.
Well, there's a reason for that. No, don't you think there's a reason for that? You're telling me this guy can't get reps because he's got Rico Dowdle in front of him? Like that to me, that's a red flag. If we're talking,
I understand. No, that's a valid point. But you look at once again, you bring up Darren Sproles, right?
I look at Jaden Blue more like a Darren Sproles. You know what I mean?
No, but you don't, because Darren Sproles is the same height as Deuce Vaughn. You're talking about how big he is, and they came from the same school. And Darren Sproles, his first couple of years, couldn't see the field until he got around the right coach that started literally right until he got around the right coach that knew how to fucking use him. I don't think he's being used properly. And again, you could be right.
Yeah, and again, I put him on my roster. I put him on the roster for Schottenheimer first go. Let's see if Schottenheimer can do it.
Let's see. Exactly. So I mean, I don't know.
But I got flamed on Twitter because of that. They're like, nah, he's done. Deuce is gone. We're done with this bullshit. And I'm like, the
question now is, are we going to carry 4 running backs? You know what I mean?
Probably not.
You got to put him back on developmental then if we're going to keep him. But he could be a good specialty utility player. I think we got to get him involved a little. That kid can move. That one game he played, he was starting to heat up. What game was that, Keith? When he was I forgot who we played.
It might have been the Washington one at the end.
Because he was just.
Regardless, I'm the blame for this, guys. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
I was waiting for a mom joke by Bret, but that didn't happen.
He laid it up for you, right? We're hanging around the rim.
You guys probably wouldn't even have been talking about him if I didn't make such a big deal about him. And then the big draft when his dad called. It's one of the greatest stories we've ever seen. I was very, very, very high on him, and I am being stubborn here because when I saw him in college going against big fucking schools, not shitty schools, I'm talking about Georgia, the national champs, and the way he was running against that defense with a subpar offensive line, I just thought that would translate in the NFL. And I just don't think he's been given the opportunity to really show.
Well, bro,
give him 15 carries a game and let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Well, people don't remember too, and I'm not comparing him to Barry Sanders at all. But Barry Sanders would get tackled. He would make a negative 2-yard run look amazing. And then, people forget that. He would, and then once he hit, he boom, he would just take off. They're built kind of the same. Barry was not a big running back. I mean, lower center of gravity, arguably the best pure runner the league had ever seen. But, it took a while for him to get going. I remember what one game he had like negative 12 yards in the first half and ended up going for 130 something.
Yeah.
And and also they're in a different style of offense. They were in a run and shoot type offense in the beginning, and then they had a variation of that, which it depends on what we're running if this is going to be, feasible, because you're not seeing I formations anymore. You're not seeing the fullbacks almost obsolete.
We're not even talking about the fact that we have Hunter Lepke on our roster still. So we have we didn't want Scatterbow. We got Scatterbow at home. we got fucking Hunter Lepke.
That's true.
So, and that's another guy. You want to talk about not getting burned? He's used as a primary fullback when that dude was an absolute beast of a running back at San Diego State or some shit. Wherever the fuck he came. He's a Bison. That's all I know. But look, overall, the Cowboys drafted their best player on their board every round. There was one trade up to get, I believe, Shamar James, which is their linebacker. They talked in the hidden, the phone call stuff, talked to Jaden Blue, said, we almost traded up for you because we really, really wanted you, but you just wound up being there. So again, I'm just like, okay, if you really wanted this guy, then you should have pulled trigger and traded for him or traded up to get him. Because like, oh, we want him so bad. And then like, oops, he got picked by somebody else. Like, no.
So do you think, Sturch, do you think that if we had a round 4 pick, we would have picked a running back?
I do.
And do you think it would have been him, or do you think it would have been Scatterbow?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know, because we have, like I said, you want a big white running back? We got one of those. I mean, I don't know if we needed him.
I think we would have went receiver.
That's possible too. But we did. We did go receiver.
What's his name? Matthew Golden drafted.
He was drafted by the Packers.
Yeah, first or second. First round.
First round.
He went to the Packers. Who might? Oh, the McMillan kid.
McMillan went 9th overall.
Yeah, he went 9th.
Right.
And we had a chance for, I believe, the Luther Burden kid, and that he was drafted like 2 spots before us. I think there could have been a couple audibles called by the Cowboys in the war room, like, all right, we're going to get Luther Burden here. And then he was drafted 2 players prior to, and he's like, fuck. All right, who's next? Who's next? But Siobhan Revel. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You're never going to get to the mind.
No, I was going to say, how they look at that could be, once there's certain receivers that they would have drafted are gone, now all the rest, that tier that's left, they could get after the draft, in which they have. They've already picked up a couple of receivers. And that's what a lot of people may not realize. The draft was not always 7 rounds. I mean, it was like 18 rounds at one time. So
I don't know if I can handle any more rounds.
But you have undrafted free agents like a Drew Pearson, who is arguably the greatest Dallas Cowboy receiver of all time,
Hall of Famer,
who was undrafted in a 16-17 round draft. So there are players. Miles Austin's another one we could talk about. I mean, we might be all right. Who knows? Who knows who they could pull in? You just don't know.
If you're really calling it how you see it, maybe the 3rd greatest Dallas Cowboy quarterback ever was undrafted. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm talking about Romo behind Staubach and Aikman. And I'm like,
how about the greatest? Go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to say, then you had Everson Walls.
I was just going to say
other, but that's always been the case. And what's unique about it's crazy how like you'll have amazing high school athletes that blue chips go to college, don't pan out. Then you get guys from the Division II level, like people forget Walter Payton and Jerry Rice were not Division I football players.
And Charles Haley, right, bro?
Yeah, he went to JMU, I think.
Right.
Madison. But the league suits them better. It's kind of like in high school, you didn't get good grades, but then people go to college, and college just that format. So are better students in college than they were in high school because they don't have to be up at 6 a.m.
Right.
There are ways that sometimes, guys that we think are going to be great. I just saw something, the first number one picks at the past since 1999. Only 3 won a Super Bowl that were starters, and there was one, I think it was Carr, was a backup and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
But
with
the
the
first
Giants.
pick in the 25 years or 26 years, you've only had 3 win Super Bowls. Then you had the reactions of people when Kansas City drafted Patrick Mahomes.
They hated
were
it.
like,
They
"Oh,
hated it.
come on."
The Bills fans were
Yeah.
up in arms about Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy that, like, if you really do your research and you look up first round picks, I'm not even just talking about quarterbacks. Look at the first round picks of the last 20 years and tell me how many in the league panned out. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. These guys are found. These diamonds in the rough are found either later on in the draft, like the almighty Dak Prescott in the 4th round, or like Tom Brady in the 6th. I'm comparing the two. No, but what I'm saying is a lot of these guys are found later or undrafted, or you just do some fucking homework. Not because of the fact that they went to a big ass school, right? They went to a big ass school. They're on TV every week. They have their own brand now, and now more than ever, guys are walking into the draft. I had a buddy of mine text me. He's like, "Hey man," he's not as a big NFL fan as we all are, but he goes, "Hey man, I remember back in the day, guys would, they would need to be drafted in order to purchase their first really nice suit." Yeah, I was like, well, things have changed. Some of these guys are walking into the draft millionaires already. You know what I mean? Because of the NIL shit. So there's a lot of different characteristics, and that's why I love what Brian Schottenheimer is selling me. And again, maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid right now in April, but what I'm saying is all the people that they've drafted, they've emphasized character. They've emphasized their love for football. Like, the guys won't leave the field. The guys will keep training. The guys will put the extra reps in the hours in the film rooms. Those guys, they love the game. And then you got guys that might slip to the 5th round because they think their shit doesn't stink. So there's definitely
Character at this level is very important.
Absolutely.
Work ethic. Like the kid that the Patriots drafted, he was crying.
Oh.
He said, "I'm going to die if someone I'll die before I let somebody touch my quarterback."
right. Like, and that's what you need.
What was that kid's name?
Will Campbell, I think it was. Or no?
The offensive lineman.
Yeah, Wilson. I think it was Wilson.
Crying. But that is the factor of success once you get to the NFL. You get those, and that's why. You never know. I mean, I've been watching this long enough and been excited and disappointed and surprised. But the determining factor is, how is your organization run? And
Well, look, I know we haven't had success in 30 years, and when I say success, a Super Bowl. But if you go to those stupid little polls that they do every year, and they're like, who's the best owner when it comes to family and team building and all that shit, it's Jerry Jones. It's not close, right?
Well, that's why I brought up. If Sanders wasn't drafted, Jerry Jones would have drafted him in the 7th round.
I think so too. I think so too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, he would have.
Even if you trade that 5th or 6th pick, whatever they did for the Joe Milton Jr., so fine. Then he's the 3rd stringer, but he's still a Cowboy,
Yeah.
still selling jerseys. You know what I mean?
We need to address the backup.
Well, they have Milton now. I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Milton looks good, and then you got my main man Will Greer.
Milton's going to be the starter before the year's done.
Oh Christ!
Sorry, we'll talk about that some other time.
Please, because I can't do this.
I know you can't
It's hot
right now,
enough up here in this attic right now. I can't do it.
Okay.
Let's sum it up, all right? Because I was traveling. We were on a text. I landed. All hell broke loose. Then landed again, and it was just even more hell.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Listen.
Overall, what are you? Well, let me start. Keith, are you happy with this draft?
Sure, as I am every other one. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I'm happy with it. We got good players. So
you can't right. You can't be mad at the caliber of player that you got
exactly
when they got him. Meaning, a lot of these guys were touted to be, later round draft picks or earlier round draft picks, and you wound up stealing them. Right? That could be great. And what you need to do is you need to build a team. And I understand there's no doubt in my mind, and everything that Keith has ever said or harped on as far as we can't stop the run. We need a fucking defense. We need a linebacker. I am in wholehearted agreement with that. There's no part of me that thinks well, I'd rather add 17 tight ends first, then we can draft. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's very simple. It's science. It's how to build a team. You got to have both sides of the ball. And I'm again, will I be little Sturchin on Dak Prescott again this year? I'm going to try to refrain. I love Dak the kid. I say kid, he's fucking 30 now. I love the character that he is. I love that everything he does on and off the field. He just seems like a very big team leader guy. However, we are now, he was drafted in 2016. We are going into 2025 season. This has been 10 years of Dak Prescott not being able to deliver us anything more than a playoff win here and there. So I can't get excited about Dak right now. Will I get excited when the mini camp starts and he's fucking throwing laser beams to all these guys? You're like, oh, that's it. CeeDee Lamb just posted a video the other day, like, oh, I got 4 back. Now you guys are on fucking notice. And I'm just like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, man, yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking okay. Well, you had him last year too. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm a little bit pulled back on the Dak stuff. Reserved, have you? I guess that's a better word. But like,
are you fucking happy with the draft?
I'm happy. I know. God forbid I talk for a living. I'm happy with the draft because of the fact that I know that they address certain things to A, help Dak out a little bit, meaning the offensive line, and then B, got some more defenders on that team, got an edge rusher that can rush the quarterback. And like you guys both said and harp on, this team, the 2025 Dallas Cowboys, I feel, along with you guys, are built through the defense. That's how we're going to win football games this year. So keep building the defense. Get me more linebackers. Get me Overshawn back on the field. Get me Diggs back on the field. I don't give a fuck. Like, just get him back on the field and see what happens.
You're getting the light. My opinion is was the draft a good draft, or are we going to be known for what we did not do? Right. And in hindsight, I look back, people were gone that weren't available. Dallas, you have 2 options here. You're either going to draft for need or you're going to draft for the best guys on your board. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. I am happy that we got who we got, and I like the fact that they're just like, fuck it, we'll roll with who's on the team now. As far as I've been a fan longer than both of you, not much longer than Keith. I'm just tired of trying to figure this team out. I'm glad I'm alive just to see another draft. And, I'm pretty sure we're going to be disappointed again this year. So,
yeah, for everybody that says disappointment, you got guys that are just like, well, I don't know, man. You added Jaden Blue. Now the Cowboys can score points, and now they're going to be a sneaky team. The Cowboys are a part of all the cliques in the world. We get that part, man. We just cover the team the best we could as fans. We're not in there fucking in the film room. Yeah, no, I think everybody is. I think everybody's very grown tired.
We could have drafted Cam. We could have drafted Golden, whatever. So we could have drafted and I'd still be like, okay, well, we still have to.
Hey, you know what though, Bret? Good thing for you that in 2 weeks from now, we can do our very first installment of win-loss, because the schedule will drop on May the 14th. We will be back to drop all of our knowledge and give our May predictions on win-loss records. The ones that
don't want to put Philly on Thursday night.
I think that's going to go to either the
Washington?
Chiefs or not, the Chiefs or Washington. I think, yeah.
I think Washington, man.
Just
because of Jaden Daniels.
I got this weird feeling, and this is a good thing for me. Because I've made a promise to myself. I don't buy a lot of things for myself anymore. I got kids. It just doesn't happen as much. But I'm going to Vegas this year. I skipped WrestleMania. I'm going to Vegas this year for the Dallas Cowboys to meet the Raiders. I got this weird sinking feeling that it's Sunday Night Football Week 1. I have no rumors.
Shit.
I have no rumors or anything.
That's my weekend too. I always go every weekend, opening weekend.
Bro, because you got Ashton Genty, who should have been a Cowboy, right? You got him to run the rock. You got the fucking new quarterback there in Geno Smith, new coach in Pete Carroll, new coach against Dallas, new quarterback. The stories write themselves. I think it might be.
Here's what I'm going to say. Living in Las Vegas, I hope it's not, because then it's going to be hard for us to get tickets. We need to wait until both teams start to self-destruct.
We need Dallas to be around 4-7, and then the tickets will be perfect.
I have a feeling we're going to be at the Circa watching the game with Keith in the pool.
Dude, I've seen
Bro.
pictures of that. I have to do this. I have to.
Are you kidding, bro? Listen, both the Sturch brothers and the Ernst brothers at a Raider game, bro. No one's gonna fucking touch us.
It's happening,
dude.
baby. It's happening.
I got to steer clear, man.
It's happening, boy. Dude, Bret has gotten the first actual dose of the Sturch boys together, and you add the tree known as Coach Keith Ernst. Fuck, man. It's gonna be great.
Bert, here's a question: who's crazier out of you or your brother? Because you're both kind of insane. Who's the craziest?
All right. Lately, I think he gets a little bit more angrier than I do. Like I'm more like when they go down 7-0, I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But when they go down 7-0 and Danny's in the room, like Danny's like, what the fuck are they doing? It's like, I think
Dude, I love this kid. I can't wait to watch the game.
Listen, dude, he is a trip. And we are going to be out there.
Bret won't be able to sit with us three, though, I don't think.
He barely could sit with me and my brother.
I warned you about that.
You guys, here's why.
No, we get why, but you have to understand, we enjoy a game a certain way.
Yeah, I know, but you also have to realize that we're in a section that a buddy gave us tickets for. That's a business.
Oh, you can tell. No, you can tell.
If we're going to the Raider game, we're going to probably get these tickets in a suite with like casino owners, CEOs, stuff like that, right? So we just have to act like adults. That's all.
I'd rather sit with the hooligans.
Dude, my favorite part to this day, we're beating the brakes off the Patriots. The game is in hand. We're recovering fumbles, scoop and score touchdowns. We're going fucking crazy, right? It's like 3rd and 7. We're up by like 30. 3rd and 7, we don't convert. And Danny and me are like, what the fuck are they doing? and Bret looks at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? We won the fuck. We're winning the game. Like, what is wrong with you? And it's just, and that was it. The rest is history. We made it through the game, and we had a great time. Shout out to Big J, our security guy. Shout out to.
As soon as that schedule's released, I'll get to work.
I got to go, guys.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, another great episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. The draft comes and goes. Hope you like our critiques and all that good shit. Until next time, the draft is over. And next thing up, the schedule release. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. See you guys next time.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!